Welcome to Master Your Mindset for a weight loss breakthrough. Carve out the healthy life you deserve with Adrienne Kraig. Adrienne is a certified health coach here to guide women on their journeys toward a healthier life. Adrienne will lovingly hold you accountable and empower you as you create a natural and sustainable weight loss plan designed to keep you feeling good every step of the way. Nourishing food can be delicious and movement can be fun. Get ready to own your power and create lasting change in your mindset and lifestyle. Now here's your host, Adrienne.
Hi, I'm Adrienne Kraig. Welcome to Master Your Mindset for a Weight Loss Breakthrough. Are you ready to cut through the superficial and get to the root cause of your health and weight loss challenges? Would you like to gain body confidence on your journey instead of waiting until the end? I'm here to help you carve out the healthy life you deserve. Today, we're going to talk about metal allergies and listening to the signals your body sends to you. Our bodies are beautiful and they send us signals and speak to us all the time. We just need to make sure we're listening. I am really excited to introduce Kristina David today. Kristina is going to talk about her practice with helping clients with nickel allergies. And I'm going to share a little bit about how I met Kristina. We just met this year in January, and I'm excited to have her here today because she really helped me on a personal level with my own journey with metal allergies and listening to my body's signals, which I ignored for a while in this particular area. Kristina is an RN and she's a holistic health coach in South Florida, and she's passionate about raising awareness and educating and helping others with this complex allergy of nickel allergy. Welcome, Kristina.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm really thrilled to have you here. This is a different topic for our show, but I think it's really important. And as I started to mention, it has affected me personally. And just to go back to my own story a little bit and leading up to how I met you, I started having eczema problems after I gave birth to my daughter. I never had them in my life before. It started on my hands, and I ended up eventually having an eczema patch on my chest above my heart that I've had for many years. I have seen dermatologists, naturopath. I've tried numerous ointments, changing my diet to more nourishing foods as I've aged and paid more attention to that. And I haven't seen relief in my symptoms. And my intuition was telling me that I might have a metal allergy, but I didn't listen. I blew it off. I didn't even research it. Forgot, kind of just went out of my mind and by the wayside. And as I said, the problem never healed. But this year I met you in a women's accountability group for female entrepreneurs. And you were talking about developing a course for your business around nickel allergies, which are metal-based allergy. And light bulbs just started dinging in my brain. Like, I had to talk to you outside of the call. I had to get more information because I just talked myself out of it thinking, oh, that's not really a thing, Adrienne. That doesn't make sense. There's no metal allergies. But you also had your personal journey in this area, and I would love for you to share that with our listeners.
Yeah, so our stories are a little similar in that it started after pregnancy. So in 2014, shortly after I gave birth to my daughter, I developed eczema on my finger from my wedding band. So I went to a dermatologist. They gave me prescription topical steroids, and I removed my jewelry. He told me he thought I had contact dermatitis, and he sent me on my way. And the rash never really went away. The medications didn't work so well, but it was just localized. It didn't bother me that much. So I went on with my life. And then in 2017, I wanted to change up my diet. I wanted to conceive a second kid. I started working out. I was eating more plant-based. And I remember I started this like vegan protein drink. And shortly after that, my eczema started to spread to both hands, and I developed eye eczema, which is very painful. So I went to the allergist, a separate doctor. I saw a dermatologist this time. I was like, okay, let me go to an allergist and get some testing done. And he did patch testing that didn't really reveal much. He told me I was probably allergic to nickel because that is the most common contact allergen. And he said that's probably what is causing your hand eczema. I'm not so sure what's causing your eye eczema. He recommended I go on an elimination diet. So I went home, was super motivated. I wanted to heal from the inside out, and I wanted to find the trigger. So I avoided the top allergens like wheat and dairy, nuts, soy, shellfish. And yeah, I went all in and I started to eat very healthy. So I ramped up my greens. I was eating a lot of whole grains. Oh, I stopped eggs as well. So I was having oatmeal every morning. I was really enjoying like beans and rice and lentil soup. And I got significantly worse. It was frightening. I was breaking out in hives. I was having headaches and brain fog and fatigue, achy joints, stomach issues. My eczema was out of control. It was like splitting and oozing and like weeping, and it was very painful. It was a really scary time in my life. My family was very concerned. I was going to, see specialists. They were running a lot of blood tests, trying to figure out what's going on. I was, having a lot of panic attacks. And finally, through Dr. Google, I found out that there's a thing called the low nickel diet for some people who have a nickel allergy. They need to avoid some foods. And I was so confused at first because I didn't know nickel in food was a thing. You don't hear about that. It's not, listed on labels or anything. But I realized that, yeah, the top offending foods for people who are sensitive to dietary forms of nickel are nuts, seeds, beans, legumes, dark leafy greens, whole grains, and chocolate. And I was thinking, wow, I'm eating a lot of those foods and a lot of, big portions of them. So I started a low nickel diet. And I also learned about that some people with this systemic nickel allergy have to avoid foods high in histamine. So I also avoided foods high in histamine. And within 4 months, my rashes were completely healed and my symptoms reversed. And I was amazed. And I was really baffled that none of my doctors knew about this condition. So that's what motivated me to learn more. And then I realized, I need to be officially diagnosed through patch testing, which is a specialized test where you have patches of allergens, metal allergens, also things that you can find that are found in products, and they're placed on your back. One day, 48 hours later, they're removed, and then another 48 hours later, the doctor reads the patches and see if you've reacted. And I only reacted to cobalt. So I was really confused. How did this low nickel diet and lifestyle heal my rashes? But I learned that cobalt is another allergy, a metal allergy, and it's found in the environment with nickel. And in addition to having to avoid those top offending foods that contain nickel, we also have to be careful with foods that are concentrated in B12. So B12 supplements, liver, foods that are just naturally high in B12, anything enriched with B12. But yeah, so that's my story.
Yeah, and I really do feel like it was divine intervention that I met you, because once we started talking and you started educating me, I found an allergy immunologist locally where I live who does patch testing and so they put me through a whole new allergy panel with the skin prick test, the intradermal test, and then the patch testing. And I ended up reacting to 6 allergens in the patch testing, including gold and cobalt, both metals. And then you and I share the cobalt allergy. Now, from kind of my side here, my doctor has recommended, just eliminating everything that touches my skin that has any type of fragrance in it. I've had to switch everything to free and clear in my environment. And I go back in May to get my first follow-up. So I've done a couple of the steps you recommend, and you actually have provided a great little image for us. I'm not sure that we'll see it now, but we'll see it in the replay that has 3 simple steps of what people should do if they suspect they may have a metal allergy. Do you want to share those?
Yes. So first thing is always patch testing to diagnose, and identify exactly what you're allergic to. And then strict avoidance. So that's a huge part. So strict avoidance of whatever your allergies are. And then for a percentage of us, they say about 10 to 20% will need to trial a low nickel diet or a low cobalt diet to avoid it in the diet. But that's not necessary for everyone. So, but if your rashes aren't going away after a few months, just with strict avoidance, then that's when you may suspect, or your doctor may suspect a systemic allergy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know the doctor I saw isn't getting into the food piece yet, but that may come up in my next visit as well, since I've only implemented the first 2 steps so far, and they'll need to track my progress.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, because for you, bringing awareness to this, because I feel like this is still in a younger stage of awareness, and there's varying levels of acceptance, even in the medical community with this.
Yes.
What are the most important areas that you educate your clients on in regard to this?
Well, a lot of my clients have already been diagnosed, and that's how they find me. And they've already tried eliminating or avoiding contact, the avoidance strategies, and that hasn't worked for them. So I do help them on identifying hidden triggers. Because, in the environment, it is tricky because these metals are everywhere. But then we also talk about the diet piece. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of doctors that disregard this condition, even though there's been multiple double-blind, placebo-controlled studies proving that this phenomenon exists. But it's a newly defined condition, and a lot of the research comes out of Italy at this point. So I think that it's going to take some time for doctors to recognize and get on board that the diet component is really important for a lot of us. And now with this trend of plant-based eating, I believe that there's going to be more people that develop the systemic version of these metal allergies.
Yeah, because that's one thing you and I spoke about. That's something I practice is, whole food, plant-based as much as possible. I do incorporate a little bit of meat into my diet. And logically, I thought, that would help with any issues, that I would have. And while it has, helped in some areas of my health, it hasn't helped in that area in particular. And I feel that that's a little bit part of the frustration I have is, I was seeing the right people in medicine, and no one recommended to me to get patch testing done or that I could have a metal allergy. So, I feel that's part of why it was so important that I meet you and that I can help you help get your message out to other people. Now, one thing that you've told me about and we've talked about that I think it's important for listeners to know is, and you can elaborate on this, but this allergy is an allergy of accumulation. Do you want to take that a little bit further?
Yes, and yeah, it is really frustrating for a lot of us who enjoy eating healthy and, you know, a more plant-based life, to have to let that go. And I know for me, that was really challenging, and for a lot of my clients, letting that go. But yeah, wait, I lost track. What was the last question?
You're talking about how this is an allergy of accumulation.
Accumulation, exactly. So nickel is everywhere. It is ubiquitous in our environment. It is found in our water, even the air we breathe. There is a small amounts of nickel, believe it or not. But yeah, so it's really about minimizing our exposures, and this, you know, concept of, you know, accumulation. And I like to think of it like the bucket analogy with this. And research has shown that there is an actual amount. So 150 micrograms of nickel per day is the threshold for a lot of us. So we don't want to go over that. And luckily there are apps out there. One is called the Nickel Navigator app, and there's also Cobalt Companion that gives data on the amount of nickel and cobalt in food. But yeah, we have to watch out for everything. So filtering water is important because, you know, nickel can be found in pipes, but also our cooking ware. So stainless steel can leach nickel into food. So nickel can be in food because it is contaminating our food from either cans or the cooking materials, or it is found in food because of like the soil. So the dark leafy greens absorb nickel from the soil. So it's a really complex allergy. You really have to think of everything, you know, what you're touching, what you're cooking with, what you're eating, so that your levels can stay below that threshold.
Wow, that's so important. I'd like to ask you also, in your own journey and in the help that you provide to the people you work with, what obstacles or roadblocks came up for you early on as you were trying to make this health and lifestyle adjustment? And what do you see as the most common obstacles for the people you work with when they're first getting started trying to make the change?
Well, I think believing that this is a real allergy is hard because you don't hear about it. So I remember thinking, like, this can't be real. Like, I can't be reacting to these healthy foods in my diet that are supposed to heal me from the inside out. So that was a big obstacle. But then also, I also worked with a naturopath who had me on these like heavy metal detox protocols that were horrible for me. They really were just high in metals, and they made me so much worse. So I think a lot of people think, oh, I must have a toxic level of metals in my body, and that is why I have this allergy, when in fact that is wrong. We just have the normal amounts in our body. We're allergic to it. It's an allergy. So understanding that and educating our practitioners on this allergy is also a big component of that. But then also just redefining what it means to be healthy for you. And I had to learn that I really had to give up those healthy foods, which took a while. I remember trying to go on, you know, all of these detoxes and, you know, these protocols to heal my gut, thinking that it must be leaky gut. It must be, you know, this, my liver, you know, and that was a big struggle for me because it took me years to get over the fact that I'm going to have this allergy for life. I can't cure it. And letting go of food as a way to heal me, and just learning to eat for enjoyment, and then nurturing my health in other ways, like, you know, meditation, my relationships, physical activity, being out in nature. So there's a lot of other things that I do now to nurture my health. And I've learned to redefine what it means to be healthy for me. And I now eat for enjoyment and enjoy, you know, a croissant and a coffee with real milk and sugar. And, you know, I still eat like a whole foods diet, but I do eat a lot more meats, and I enjoy my dairy and, you know, white rice and white bread, and then, you know, fruits and veggies, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's great. And I want to just take a second to touch on a couple important points you've made. I think one is if you are working with a naturopath, you know, just you need to be careful and you need to make sure that the work you're doing with that person isn't exacerbating any other issues you may be having with your health, because they're unknown or even known, but it's perhaps not the exact right methodology to use.
Yeah.
And I love you talking about eating for pleasure, because that's something I also work on with the women I serve, who are, you know, a lot of them have the goal of weight loss, but they get very frustrated because they're depriving themselves. They resent the changes they feel they have to make in their diet. And you're going to get a lot further if you can make it an enjoyable experience for yourself. So I love that. And then I also want to touch on a couple other things you said. Another one is that, you know, this whole reconciling what has been stated as best for our health at a mass level, but what's really healthy for your unique body and your health and what you need physically for your own health. It doesn't necessarily match up with this standardized norm of the, you know, whole foods, leafy greens, plant-based, all aspects of it. So you have to make those determinations for yourself. And I try to tell my clients, you're your own best health expert. Your body, you know, knows what you need. As I said when we opened, it gives you signals. You just need to listen to the messages that it's sending you.
Yeah, that's so true.
Before we have to close the show, what takeaways would you like to leave with our listeners?
I think the major takeaway is, and the most important thing for me in this, my journey with this allergy, is that, you know, we need to be our own advocate and do our own research with things. And we need to really understand, you know, I like this concept of bio-individuality, you know, where one person's medicine is, you know, another person's poison, and everyone's different. Our bodies are complex. There's, you know, these complex allergies out there that a lot of us don't even know that we have. And yeah, just listening to your intuition and being your own advocate, I think is really important.
Yeah, it's so true. It's really important to advocate for yourself, because especially nowadays, practitioners are so overwhelmed and, you know, with the patients they're seeing. Not all doctors have studied nutrition or functional medicines. They may not have the knowledge. So it really helps if you can become a partner and advocate for your own healthcare and find the right people to work with, such as yourself and myself, who can help people in between achieving those goals and states of health that they want. Why don't you share with people, I know you're offering a giveaway with your nickel allergy course, and why don't you let the listeners know how they can reach you after the show?
Okay, yes. So I did launch the nickel allergy course a few months ago, and that is for people who have a nickel allergy, who want to learn how to master the low nickel lifestyle and diet if needed. And you can access that by going to courses.KristinaDavidWellness.com, and that's Kristina with a K. And I have a coupon code 10% off, and that code is KDW10. And if you're just new to this and you don't know if you have an allergy, I have a free getting started guide as well that you can sign up for when you go to my website, KristinaDavidWellness.com. And you can find me on social media. I'm on YouTube and Instagram at Kristina David Wellness.
And I just want to say thank you again for the help and impact you gave me. And thank you for being here today to bring awareness to this lifestyle challenge that affects many people, and many people don't even realize it yet. It's been a lifesaver for me, and really allowed me to acknowledge once again that my body really does know best. And I would just like to say, if this resonates with people, contact Kristina. And if you're looking for support in your weight loss journey or just a body confidence journey, you can reach me at lifecanyon.com. And you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And we will see you again on the second and fourth Fridays of the month at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. And if you are joining us in the live audience, you can stay here after the show and just click on the button to join our breakout room. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Master Your Mindset for a Weight Loss Breakthrough. Tune in next time for more groundbreaking insights to help you shift your mindset so you can achieve your goals and feel amazing in your body. Adrienne is here to support and inspire you on your weight loss journey. You don't need to do this alone. For more information about Adrienne or to work with her personally, visit lifecanyon.com.